Hey OIT fam, Ray Orsini again. Just want to welcome you to the next episode of Technical Deficit with Ray and Friends. In our last episode, we ran through installing Hudu on self-hosted DigitalOcean instance, and we talked about some of the requirements of Hudu to have that 4 gig RAM instance, which is that more expensive $20 one. Now, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to create a swap file. So we're going to compensate using the 1 gig of RAM instance, that $5 DigitalOcean droplet, and use a swap file to make up for the memory. Normally this wouldn't be recommended. DigitalOcean runs on all SSDs, so it is much faster. And I have verified that it does in fact work. Now I want this to be clear. We are going against recommended settings from Hudu, so do not go back to Hudu and say, I did this, it doesn't work. The only reason I'm doing this is because the goal of Technical Deficit is to go through technical challenges and find technical solutions. So I was running through the install with a buddy of mine the other day, and he was using the 1 gig instance, and we didn't realize it till after the fact. And honestly, if you're a one-man or two-man shop, that $5 versus $20 a month might make a difference to you. So I want to give an option. That's the goal here. Whether you take advantage of it or not, or just think it's something cool and move on with life, or you apply this to other Linux instances later on in life, great. But this is just a proof of concept, so I want to make sure all the support requests, all that stuff is off of the Hudu team. With that said, just to speed up things, I have gone into my trial DigitalOcean account, created a VM. This VM is fresh. You will see that it is only, I can resize it here, it is only 1 gig, 25 gig disk, using the 1 vCPU. It is the bare minimum $5 a month one. All I've done is I've gone into it and I've done the apt-get update and upgrade. I have not done any of the other Hudu install steps because I want you to see the difference. But, you know, we're going to do this swap file creation before we do anything else. And I did do the A record, the DNS record. So that when we get to that point, we don't have to worry about it. So I'll go ahead and run git bash. I'll log into that account. All right, and I'll go ahead and make this nice and big so it's easy to see. All right, so one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to check if swap is already running, right? We're going to run swap on show, and we're going to see if it's running. It's not. If we got any output, we'd know it's running, but we don't. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure there's no active swap. You can see right there, swap 0. We have 1 gig in use, or 1 gig available, 197 megs in use, which honestly is not surprising. There's nothing running, but there's no swap file for sure. So next thing you're going to do, and this is on any system, we know on a fresh system we have the space, and we know we have the space because we know what the specs are, 25 gigs SSD, but with that, we want to go ahead and make sure we have the space. So we'll type df-h, and that'll tell us how much available space we have. We have plenty of space here, okay? There's that 21 gigs available there. So we're good on that. So let's go ahead and create that swap file. So we're going to do fallocate -l. Let's do a 4 gig swap file. And we're doing 4 gigs because Hudu needs 4 gigs. So 1 + 4 is 5. Why not? So we're going to do that. So that's taken place. Let's go ahead and verify it that it was working. So ls-lh/swap file. And we can see there we have a 4 gig swap file. Now, with this, you're going to see that it has the wrong permissions here. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite those permissions. And that's with the quick chmod. So we'll do chmod 600 swap file. And then we'll do the same command again. And we'll see now we have the correct permissions needed for this swap file. Pretty easy. All right. So next we're going to do is we're going to mark this space as a swap file, right? So we're going to make our swap, and we're going to type /swap file. There we go. Set up the swap. Good to go. All right. Now we're going to enable it, right? We're going to remember that swap on command. Swap on. We're going to assign the swap file that we just created. That took place, and now we're going to verify it's working. Swap on -show, and now we have our swap file. Perfect. It's exactly what we want to do. And we can check this again. Remember that free command that we ran in the very beginning? Now we can see the swap file, 4 gigs there. So it's good. So what we want to do is we want to make sure this step is permanent, right? We want to make sure that on a reboot, that all this stuff is still there. So let's go ahead and let's make a change to our FS tab. Before we do anything with FS tab, you want to back it up. I'll show you the commands for backing it up. This is a new instance. It's not that big of a deal. But basically, you're going to do the copy command for etc FS tab, and let's make a copy to backup FS tab .back, and let's make sure that's there. So we should see FS tab in here, FS tab and FS tab back. We're good. Okay. So now we can go ahead and make our changes. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna make a change to the end of the FS tab by doing. Don't make fun of me for using nano. I've told you about that. So now at the bottom of the FS tab, I'm going to add in swap file none swap SW00. All right. Very good. All right. So now that's there, we want to tune it a little bit. Now we tune it with some settings like swappiness. I'll leave some links in the description below so you can go do some reading up on it. But it's basically how aggressive the system is doing swapping, right? And we can check the status of it by checking what it's set to right now. We'll do proc sys VM swappiness, and we see it's set to 60. 60 is the default. Now 60 is not bad. 60 is okay. You do a lower number, it's going to be more conservative. You do a higher number, it's going to be more aggressive. For desktop, 60 is fine. However, for a system that has plenty of resources, you want to do it lower. You want to do it 10 because RAM is always the preference. However, in this case, we know for a fact we don't have enough RAM. We want it to be more aggressive. So normally we'd set it to 10. We're going to leave it at 60. All right. And then the cache pressure setting. The cache pressure, I'll leave a reference doc below. But we're going to do the same thing. We're going to check the cache pressure, and that'll be under proc sys VM VFS cache pressure. That's set to 100. As it is, you don't want to leave it like that because it's going to remove stuff from cache way too quickly. We're going to adjust that a little bit. So let's go ahead and change it to, let's change it to 50, I think. Sys control vm.vfs cache pressure equals 50. And we can make sure that took effect. Okay, we're good. Now we want to make sure it's set for it's going to stay persistent. So we're going to modify etc syscontrol.config. And all the way at the bottom, we're going to write VM VFS cache pressure equals 50. That's going to make sure that that setting stays persistent upon reboot. And let's make sure there's no spelling errors here, because that would be bad. It means nothing would happen. Save that, and now we're good. Now we have a system with a 4 gig swap file. So now I can go to my Hudu directory. It doesn't exist, so I'm going to create it. And I can go through the same steps. You have to do the swap file before you do the rest of the Hudu install. If you don't, it will fail. So be careful with that. And just keep in mind that if you do this, it will take, let me see here. Paste. If you do this, the system has less resources needed. I can confirm it'll run. I'll leave this installing, and I'll come back and I'll show you it running before I cap off the video. But keep in mind, you're doing this at your own risk, so so be careful. So let's create our environment file. Actually, that's not the one we need. He's actually blew away that instance and created a new one. And then we can go and do our Docker compose up. Let it do its thing. It'll process through. It took between 10 and 15 minutes, the 2 times I have to do this. Remember, you got to do this one time here, then you got to go replace the default file in the Nginx configs, and then you got to do it one more time. So it took about 10 minutes each, but within 20 minutes you have a working solution. I will show that at the end, but that's about it. All right, we can see that the server is up and running, so let's go ahead and replace that that default file here. And if you notice, things take a lot longer, not a lot, but a significant amount of time longer to run as compared to the 4 gig file. Docker Composer down. Then we'll just check that nothing's running. We'll move over to that other location. Remove that default file. Get the new one. Confirm it's there. Move over to the Hudu directory. Docker compose up one last time. This time we'll do it detached. And we'll check the logs. Docker compose logs -t-f. And we'll give it time to run. And this is normally the step that would have failed on that 1 gig install without the swap file. This is going to take a while. Remember, it's going to look like it locks up. It doesn't really lock up. It's just going. It's just sometimes it looks like it's logged. It's doing work in the background. It's just not writing to log files. That's why you don't see it. So give it its time. What I like to do is I will sit there and I'll just go refresh. And you'll get that bad gateway. That's fine. Give it the 10 or 15 minutes it needs, and we'll wait till it comes back. And there you go. It took quite a bit longer than the last time we did this with the 4 gig instance, but it absolutely finished. And you can see right here, there you go. And I can create my account and do everything I did before. So I'll go ahead and do my Hudu demo, MSP, Hudu demo at oitdemo.co. And there you go. And now I can go into here and you can see it's just as active. I mean, it's just as responsive. It's maybe, okay, I will say maybe the 4 gigs a little bit faster, a little noticeably faster, but not crazy. If I'm a starting MSP, if I'm a one-man shop or one-woman shop, I'm definitely considering this 1 gig option with the swap file. So go ahead and play around with it, but at least this way you know you absolutely can do it, the 1 gig with a swap file. If you have any questions, please comment below, shoot me an email, let me know what you want to see next time. But thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and be sure to like and subscribe. We're going to have lots more content coming out. We're including an OBS series on how to take advantage of OBS. Whatever you want to see, whatever the topics are, or if you want to be on the show showing off your technical deficit, shoot us an email. We'll make that happen. Thanks. Have a great day and a great week.